What's going on, 49er faithful, 49er fan, 49er gang? This your boy 49er Dion here, back with another video. So definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on the post notifications so I can keep you up to date on any and everything San Francisco 49ers. With that being said, man, let's get right on into it. Now, I know this show wasn't necessarily scheduled. I know it's impromptu, and I can understand 100% that we have been drowning in 49er information. But the one reason I wanted to do this show is because I was actually there at the game. It was my first time in Levi Stadium. And let me tell you something, man, it was definitely a beautiful experience. The tailgating is straight out ridiculous. You know, it was a sight to see all those 49er fans everywhere. One thing I can tell you is everybody friendly. You get a lot of food and alcohol thrown your way. And then at the same time, the beauty of it is that, everything was cool, man. The only problem I had, honestly, when everybody was having this was I bought my tickets on StubHub. And, hey, what's going on, Mariah? Hey, congrats on the podcast. I saw that. Definitely a good thing. What's up, Matt? Would love to be a guest anytime you have. Agent Mose, I know, bro. I don't know. I'd like to go to that home opener, but I think that, bro, them prices is way too much, Mose. My God, them prices out of control. Even the nosebleeds is freakish. But what I do have to say is, so I was on StubHub. I bought my tickets. The tickets would not come up. So I had to literally log in through the Levi Stadium app, go ahead and pull up my Ticketmaster account, which links to StubHub. Like, it was a process, but I actually got in. So I went with Silverado Kev. Shout out to him. It was fantastic, man. We had a really good time. I bought the food. He bought the beer. And we just was able to chill, man, and just have a great time. And, we saw some things. And, we're going to get into all of that. But I could say this, man, if you ain't been to Levi Stadium, you got to go. Now, I stayed at a place called the AC Hotel, which was probably a good 20 minutes walking distance from the hotel. Like, driving was like 5. So me and Kev rode together. We went, met up with a couple of other guys. Shout out to 49er Minded and a couple of other dudes I met there. I can't remember their names off top. But the beauty of everything was that we had a fantastic time. I got to meet Miss Deb, take a picture with her. I'm pretty sure y'all seen that on Twitter. But it's definitely a really, really good time, man. When you go, it's fun. The faithful are there. Everybody's, rocking. Like, it was just fantastic. Yeah, we didn't win the game, but either way, man, the experience was well worth every single penny. I love that. So, with that being said, man, we're gonna get into some of the game and see exactly what happened, and I can go over things with you guys and let you know exactly what truthfully happened. So let's just kind of jump into the stats really quick here, just to see what we have. So for Jimmy, 3 for 3, 26 yards, no TDs, and he had a nice little quarterback rating. Here's the thing. We didn't start our offensive line starters. I think there were maybe 2 that were out there. And I think both of them were guards. Like, literally, we went out there with a makeshift offensive line. And that was the way it was the whole game. There were no defensive linemen that started. No Nick Bosa, no D Ford, no Javon Kinlaw, no Eric Armstead. So, like, all the guys that we normally would see out there putting the pressure on the QB did not exist. The only person I saw in the linebacking core that was actually on the field was Drake Greenlaw. But other than that, continual backups. You saw Hilliard. You saw Jonas Griffith. You saw just a host of different people. So basically, to me, what it looks like in preseason, until you see the third game, which everybody considers technically dress rehearsal, but they're only going to run like maybe a couple of plays. Still going to be a vanilla offense, still going to be a vanilla defense. You're not going to see much of what you'll see in the actual season, nor will you probably see the guys that you would normally see, starting. So this next game, I anticipate the same thing. So basically, preseason, as we all know, is a audition. You're trying to get on a team. You're trying to make that 53. Every week they got to cut people. You don't want to be on the cut list. Now, we'll go through some of the ups and downs. I'll start with the quarterback play. Jimmy being 3 for 3, it is what it is. He wasn't really out there with the starting offensive line, so I can't really fault him for not even really coming up with much, but it is what it is. It happens. He came out, he did his series, he was gone. Even Patrick Mahomes was quick. He was in and out so fast, it didn't even, before you blinked, he was off the field, just standing on the sidelines. Everybody told me that there were, pretty much most of the people were there. The only person I really saw was Trent Williams. I got a good glimpse of him, and I got a good glimpse of Jeff Wilson Jr. He was on the sidelines cheering the team on. And you said, Matt, you bet the Chargers will win the West over KC. That's a lofty bet, man. I hope you didn't put no money on that because KC is really tough to beat. Patrick Mahomes ain't no joke. But as far as our offense goes, we did trot out Debo. We did trot out Ayuk. No George Kittle. So we had Charlie Warner and we had Ross Dwelly out there. So those were the two tight ends that were basically kind of being interchangeable. You did see Jordan Matthews for a little bit, but honestly, I only think he's here because he understands Kyle's system and he knows Kyle's system rather than him actually going to be, some guy that contributes on offense as a actual tight end. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't see him really making the squad. So literally when Jimmy came off the field, the next opening series, you saw Trey there. Like, it just went bananas. Like, the stadium went ape shit. I know I went crazy. I got up and I was like, Trey is on the field. Like, get up, show some energy. Y'all can't be sitting down, man. This is the future right here. We invested so much into this young kid. Let's make sure that we get it. So it was cool. To see him get on the field and start. Yeah, Charlie Warner did his thing. And the beauty, I'll even get to that, Mose, because you jumped a little ahead, but I'm going to get to Charlie Warner. So when Trey came onto the field, of course, he's working with the makeshift offensive line. These are the second stringers, sometimes even the third stringers. So we can't expect him to be perfect when he doesn't have the greatest of protection. The one thing that you didn't see from Trey all game, he didn't run, not once. I never saw him run. He may have shifted and moved out of the pocket, but he never actually ran with the football. Typically you would see that, or Shanahan would do that. Sorry about that, guys. But you just didn't see him run. And I honestly wanted to see that. I wanted to see him take off and just gather some yards or lower the shoulder and hit a couple of dudes. But I think it just wasn't in the offensive game plan, at least from what Kyle Shanahan wanted to do. Which is cool because you can continue to display his throwing ability. Thank you, my brother. Thanks, Mose. You can continue to display his throwing ability and let everybody know, like, he's a dude that's a force to be reckoned with from the pocket. To be 100% honest with you, when you look at Trey's stats, so Trey was 5 of 14, 128 yards, 9.1 yards per throw. 1 TD. He did take 4 sacks for a loss of 31 yards. Only one of those sacks was pretty much on him. The other was on the offensive line, man. And that speaks volumes about the backups for Kansas City because they were just making our offensive line look bad. Chris Jones got him once and a couple other dudes came through and got him, but it wasn't anything that we could really do about that. The offensive line that we put in front of Trey was – unfortunately not the best. So he was just working with what he had, and he did have to move a lot. He would shift in that pocket. He would move left. He would move right. He would do all of that. Oh, hey, what's going on, Corey Davis? I am having a wonderful Monday. I appreciate that. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday as well. So when it came to looking at Trey just as a body of work, for the line that he had in front of him and for the time that he was on his field, he only made about 2 questionable throws. And I'm just being 100% honest with you. Out of those 14, he only made about 2 questionable throws. And both of those throws honestly should have been picked off. One, he actually hit the linebacker. It was either a linebacker or a DB right in the hands. And then the other, he didn't see him. Like dude came from in a flat and boom. Next thing you know, there he was. So couple of little small things to clean up, some little rookie mistakes, but that's to be anticipated, people. Like you can't expect this dude to come out and just ball out and just be the perfect, the greatest thing since sliced bread. It does not work like that. So the beauty of it is that Trey went out there, he did what he could. Now we did have 2 drops. And one of the drops was on Ayuk and the other was on Richie. So technically speaking, if those balls would have been caught like they should have been, then you would have Trey being 7 of 14, which would have been a 50% completion percentage. Hey, what's going on? And then after that, you'll have a couple of the other ones would be, just basic incompletions, which a couple of balls sailed on them, but these are all things that come with the territory. It'll be growing pains. So I'd never anticipated him going out being perfect. If he was, I'd have been a little confused and actually a little bit scared because you got to make some kind of mistakes. Riding a bike, you don't just get on. Some people get on and they just have natural ability to have balance, the equilibrium to keep on riding. Some people, you might fall, scrape your knee a couple of times, get up and keep on pushing. Trey right now did look good. There were a couple of moments where he looked like a rookie, but I mean, it is what it is. That's what he is, a rookie. I know everybody's talking about the beautiful play that he had, that bomb to Trent Sherfield. And I know somebody caught Jimmy on the sidelines, like cheering and being happy. What you got to understand about Jimmy is Jimmy's a team player. He's never going to go ahead and show you his hand and say, I don't like this kid and I don't like the fact that he's here to take my job. He said that already basically by not saying it because Kyle and John said it. They said, yeah, he was pretty upset, which makes sense because, yeah, I would be pissed off too if I think I'm the starter. And next thing you know, you just coming in and running some young kid out here to, take my job. I get it. But I'm not mad that Jimmy was on the sideline celebrating. He was supposed to. The beauty of this is when you saw that bomb, Trey had basically 2 options, Ayuk or Sherfield. Now, what happened with Sherfield, because he explained it himself, what happened with Sherfield was that Trey was waiting for Sherfield to, basically run his route. And he had Ayuk. Now, Ayuk probably could have caught the ball, took off, and maybe even scored because he had plenty of real estate in front of him. But he waited. He shifted the pocket. And when he saw Trent Sherfield, he threw almost all the way across the field because he was way outside the hash. And when I saw that ball in the air and I saw Trent Sherfield do that, I literally screamed so loud I almost passed out. I literally almost passed out. I swear to you. I don't think Kev knew because I don't think he saw, but I literally almost passed out. I exerted that much energy and that much force, and just seeing that first touchdown, it was beautiful. So it was great, man, just to see that. And then the pass that Mose was talking about to Charlie Warner. This right here was a thing of beauty because I was so happy that they didn't try to run the fucking ball on the 1-yard line. I hate when they're backed up by the end zone and they try to run the ball and they say, oh, it creates separation and it gives us more space. It does not always give you space. If you run the right play when you're backed up like that because they're rushing so much, there are dudes that are going to be standing there wide open. And it, for the life of me, it drives me absolutely insane. Every time we get, backed up inside the 10, they want to run the damn ball. So beauty of it was, he goes ahead, play action, hits Charlie Warner. Charlie Warner gets a 34-yard gain. Now, we all know Charlie Warner ain't the fastest person in the world, but he did a damn good job running this route, catching the ball, and making it happen. Now, the next play, Richie James gets his hands. The ball hit him dead on the hands. He actually caught it for like a second and then dropped it. Richie James looked bad when it came to the return game. Travis Benjamin looked bad when it came to the return game. So looking at everything as a whole, Trey Sermon. Some people like what Trey Sermon did. I have mixed emotions. He looked all right. I'm not going to sit up here and say he looked fantastic. He looked great. It was the running game was Trey Sermon or Wayne Gallman. Trey Sermon, Wayne Gallman. It literally went back and forth. So just even looking at the stats, Trey Sermon, 9 carries, 26 yards. He only had 2.9 yards per carry. Jawan Jennings even had 2 carries for 23 yards. Wayne Gallman, 6 for 21. So the main rushers, as far as that looks, as far as that goes, with Trey Sermon and Wayne Gallman, and they only averaged 2.9 and 3.5 yards per carry. Now, here's the caveat. There was another rusher in the game. His name was JaMycal Hasty. JaMycal Hasty came in there and did what he was supposed to do. JaMycal Hasty had 10 carries for 63 yards. He averaged 6.3 yards per catch, and he had the 1 TD. And his average, his average was 6.3 yards. So you got to think about that. That's a beautiful thing when you can average 6.3 yards per carry, even though it's a preseason game and it gets back up. That bodes well for you to be able to try to make the team over anyone else. So we didn't see Elijah Mitchell. They said he had some kind of abdominal strain or something to that effect. Aaron Banks did play in the game, but he wound up straining his shoulder. They said he'll be out a couple weeks because of that. We did see the other kid that we drafted. I cannot remember his name for the life of me right now. I think it's Jonathan something. But we drafted him. He looked pretty good as an offensive lineman, but he did get beat a couple of times. So when you look at it, just looking at this game from an offensive standpoint, Trent Sherfield stands out. Jalen Moore, thank you, Mose. Moore looked pretty good, but he got beat a few times, so he's got some work to do. So when you look at this game from an offensive standpoint, Trey to me looked great. I give Trey the 7 out of 14 for the 50% completion percentage, strictly based on the fact that those 2 balls should have been caught. Ayuk had the situation where he didn't look the ball in. He turned around, he saw the ball, and he tried to catch it and go instead of really catching the ball, then going. It happens. It's nothing big. But with Richie James, that ball was in his hands, and he dropped it. When it came to the return game, Richie James looked bad. Travis Benjamin looked bad. And they kept giving Richie opportunity after opportunity whenever that happened. I don't like when you see somebody failing, man, and you just keep giving them every opportunity, and they just can't turn it around. And that's what sucks, is the fact that he couldn't turn it around, because you root for guys. I like what Richie, was able to bring to us when he was in the preseason, a couple of years with Nick Mullins. He was looking good, but he dropped the ball occasionally, and they never really gave him any looks. The best game Richie James has had his whole career was against Green Bay last year. And we all know that because we all saw that. But even after that, he still didn't get a ton of looks. Oh, you saw no Kevin White either, as far as like guys that you didn't see. So there were a lot of dudes that were just missing in action and or inactive purposely because they're just trying to make it through the preseason healthy. And I think that's what they want to do. They want to try to make sure they make it through the preseason healthy. I believe that the reason that they were able to trot out a second-team offensive line and put them out there as starters technically for this game was the fact that they feel that the offensive line has been gelling properly in practice, so they don't need to show what they can do to out. Oh, Kevin White was cut. Oh, thank God. Thank you so much. Who was that? Lunaman 97. Thank you so much for that news. He wasn't worth a dime in the first play, man. 49er Monty, what's happening with you? I'm so glad because I didn't get a chance to see that as far as that goes. And then plus, of course, we had to cut some more people. Matt says you can see why the Cards and Finns gave up on Josh Rosen. Yes, Josh Rosen didn't look spectacular, but he didn't look horrible either. From what they were saying in practice, he was looking bad. Shanahan came out and basically publicly shamed him to an extent, like, hey, you need to pick it up or you can pick your bags up and get up out of here. But, as a whole, our offense looked okay. We didn't look too bad. JaMycal Hasty, like I said, he had his TD run and he did all right. When it comes down to the receiving, so we had Trent Sherfield, 1 reception for 80 yards in the TD. And we didn't see Trent Sherfield. I didn't see Trent Sherfield the rest of the game. Jawan Jennings, 1 catch, 26 yards. Charlie Warner, 1 for 34. We had a kid, Joshua Perkins, 3 for 24. Simba Webster, 2 catches, 18 yards. Jordan Matthews, 1 catch, 16 yards. Trey Sermon, 2 for 14. Debo, 1 for 13. River Craycraft, 2 for 9. Hasty, 1 for 5. Gallman, 1 for 4. Josh Hokett, 2 for 4. So, I mean, it wasn't really that bad. You know, there wasn't a lot of passing. We had 247 passing yards. The Chiefs had 196, and they targeted way more people than we did. They put in a lot of people. Now, I'll tell you, there was definitely some question marks in the game for guys that I didn't even know who the hell these people were. Like the kid Perkins, I didn't know who that was. Vanderhoos, I don't know who you are. Like, and I know he was Vanderhoos or Vanderdoos, he was cut. But I mean, like, some of these guys, I'm like, I was looking at the field. I swear to you, there was at least 6 dudes that came on the field. I had no idea who they were. We had a safety named Nakua, Nacua. I was like, who is this dude? Like, I feel like we low-key signed these dudes right off the street and was like, hey, you're going to play in the game today? And they were like, okay. Like, it was just crazy to see that, man. Said Trent Sherfield, Jawan Jennings are making it hard for Jalen Hurd. Yes, I can agree with you on that, Luna Man. But the thing is, Jalen Hurd's making it hard for Jalen Hurd. He hasn't been healthy for 2 years in a row, and he wound up he hasn't been getting a ton of targets in practice. And my thing with Jalen Hurd, and I know this because a lot of people, tell me I'm wrong for it. The issue is, bro, you're just not healthy. And if you're not healthy, you're not doing nothing for the squad. If you're not doing nothing for the squad, why are we wasting time and money in a roster spot sitting here waiting on you to basically get healthy? You either got to figure it out or you got to go. I wish you the best in life and the best in your endeavors and anything. I don't wish nothing negative on no man. But at the end of the day, this hat that I'm wearing says 49ers. That is a very prestigious franchise. We got 5 Super Bowls. We're looking for a 6th. And if you ain't here helping us and all you're doing is sucking up money in a roster spot, there's no point in investing you anymore. I'm so sorry. You need to go ahead and exit and see yourself out. So, if you didn't have a roster in front of you, it's much easier on TV. It was, yeah, 49er money. You are so correct on that one, bro. Because I literally, bro, we were there. I cannot, for the life of me, they trotted out so many damn. I was like, who is this dude? Who's this? Who is that? Like, I'm just looking at it like crazy. The injury to Trent Williams? What injury to Trent Williams? I haven't heard about an injury to Trent Williams. I heard he was fine. I haven't heard anything about an injury to him. I know that Sean Coleman was dealing with a knee injury. I know that Banks was dealing with a shoulder injury. But as far as a hip injury to Trent Williams, I have to look that up. That is news to me. Usually I get all kinds of stuff. Matt, you gonna try? Okay, hey man, if you can get to the game next week, it's at SoFi. So just grab your tickets, man, and go. You know what I'm saying? I live in the country, so yeah. Trent Williams minor injury. Oh, if it's minor, I'm not gonna be stressing it. I'm not gonna worry about it. All they'll do at a bare minimum is hold him out of practice. He may not even do the joint practice. They may just keep him quiet. If it's a minor hip injury, nothing for me. I'm not going to be worried too much about it. I think Trent Williams will be perfectly fine. They'll just monitor the injury and make sure that he's good, and they won't put him at risk to further hurt himself if that is the case. So, yeah, but if you do go to the game, man, hey, did a virtual tour. SoFi is a beautiful stadium, and hopefully it'll be filled up with fans and filled up with people. Because they built that stadium, and last year was supposed to be the first year, and it sucks balls when you're a billionaire or you're or you're on your way to being a billionaire, and you take that kind of a financial hit where can't nobody be in your stadium, buying the beers and hot dogs and food and patronizing, your stores and everything. So hopefully they can get it going. I am sick and tired of hearing these injuries too, Luna, man. I don't want any more injuries. I get tired of it. But the stars aligned for Trent Sherfield. They aligned for Juwan Jennings. Jalen Hurd, if you out there, bro, you better find that magic pill or whatever and get your ass on that field and start trying to make some plays because I don't care what kind of draft capital they invested in you. It took McKinnon 3 years just to get on the damn field. Yeah, he did all right when he was there, but, we seen old tired legs on the other side and you only saw him for, one carry? That's about as good as it got with him, if I'm not mistaken. And I think he's like their third or fourth stringer right now. Oh, my bad. He had 3 carries for 19 yards, but it is what it is. So, offensive side of the ball, Trey looked great. Josh Rosen looked okay. Trent Sherfield looked great. Juwan Jennings looked great. Warner looked fantastic. As far as his one catch for 34 yards. JaMycal Hasty was the big guy as far as the running, and he didn't come in until the fourth quarter. So they gave Trey Sermon and Wayne Gallman as many carries as they possibly could give them, when it came to that. So when we flip over to the other side of the ball, like I said, defensive line, man, half of these dudes, I couldn't tell you who they were. But what I will tell you is we did a couple of quick things, and we tried our best to make things look right. We only got 1 sack on Chad Henne when it comes to that, and we will go ahead and take a look. So, literally, Kai Nakua, don't know who you are. I'm just going to run through some of these names so y'all can see who these dudes are. Elijah Sullivan, not familiar. Eddie Vanderdoes, not familiar, but he's been cut. Eddie Yarbrough, not familiar. I don't know who you are. Shanique Calhoun, I don't even know who that is. Donald Payne, don't know you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at these names and I'm going, who are all of these people? When you see it, it just blows your mind. And everybody else, pretty much we knew. So, to be completely honest with you, the guy that stood out to me on defense, they say we waited 3 seasons for Jimmy Ward. We did, Corey. We waited 3 seasons for Jimmy Ward. But the one thing that this is what I would say about certain players. Jimmy Ward, Jaquiski Tartt, even Jason Verrett. Those guys are injured in spurts, and they'll play a certain part of the season. So the biggest thing for me is what you're getting when they're actually healthy. With Jalen Hurd, we have seen nothing. All we saw was what happened 2 years ago in a preseason game. He had 2 touchdowns, and after that, we ain't seen nothing since. We seen the man say his back was hurt. He couldn't even catch the flight to the Super Bowl because they didn't want to put stress on the back. How's my brain? I literally have not been focusing on baseball because Ronald Acuna Jr. actually wound up tearing his ACL, if I'm not mistaken. So my Braves, the hope for my Braves is just down the fucking drain if Acuna's not playing. I love Freddie Freeman. I love Ozzie Albies. I love all my other guys, but I'm going to tell you right now, Acuna is the heart and soul of that team. And if he ain't on the field, we ain't winning shit. So we may win some games, but we ain't winning no goddamn World Series without Ronald Acuna Jr. hitting the batties. He was the hottest hitter in fucking baseball when he went down. But I'm not going to go on a tangent about that. I'm just going to go ahead and keep it light. But as far as that goes, flipping to the other side of the ball, the 2 dudes that stood out to me the most, actually there's 3, and I'm going to go through them. The first dude, Luna Man, you said it, Talanoa fucking Hufanga. That young man, hey, what's going on, Melissa? He said the selfies. Hey, man, I had to, man. I took those pictures, man, and I had to get in front of with Joe and with Dwight. It was a great time. It was a great time. The bullpen is trash. As far as the Braves, but Talanoa Hufanga. This kid, that one game right there, all I heard during OTAs, all I heard during training camp was Hufanga's so. He's a little iffy. We don't know if he's going to make the squad or this or that. I heard a lot of confusion about Hufanga. I had no confusion after watching that game. If Talanoa Hufanga continues to do what he did At this previous game, all preseason, he's on a 53. He has no, there's no, like, as far as those 5 people getting cut, he definitely wasn't worried about that this week. And even if he had came out and said that confidently, I would not have knocked him for it because of the way that he played. He honestly said, I have to go ahead and, work on my angles and get better. Like, this is a young kid who's coming into the league, trained by Troy Polamalu, and low-key looked like Troy Polamalu as far as like the hair on the field. His hair isn't as long, but he kind of looked a little bit like him as far as like the hair. And I'm not saying he's Troy Polamalu. People don't kill me for that, because that's way too much praise to be heaping on somebody, especially when they're just a rookie trying to make the team. But he played outstanding. He played amazing. He did everything that he could to go ahead and show you why he deserves to be on this team. And by the way that he played, I'm going to tell you right now, and they kept him in single high a lot, like most of the game. I literally don't even think Talanoa Hufanga came out for a damn play. Like, he was in there every single time. And then Talanoa Hufanga just balled out, man. He was there. He was making tackles. He was doing everything that he was supposed to do. And I loved it. I loved every minute of him, man. And I fell in love with the kid when I saw his interview when they first brought him to the squad. And, then I went back and I watched the tape and I said, he only fell because of the stupid fucking 40. And the 40 time to me is overrated. It's the worst thing in the world. The reason being is because I can't stress this enough. You running with no pads on, just a straight line 40 is highly unlikely. It's just not going to happen. You are on the field, fully padded, with cleats, everything. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to be taking angles. The only time you're going to run a straight line is when you just beating somebody. I tell you right now, there's very few dudes who can run a straight line in the NFL because they have that kind of a speed. And I'll tell you this, perfect example, Raheem Mostert. When he had that touchdown run against the Jets, he had to boogie up the sideline, but Mostert went like this, straight and curve, and then went straight again. Now, he did run straight line for 40 yards, but I mean, shit, the man runs almost 24 miles an hour, and that's fully padded. So you can only imagine if he was just running a 40 with no pads, he'd probably be running a 4.1 or 4.2. He's that fast, but he ran track as well, so he has form, and he runs perfect. He runs almost perfectly, so that's why that happens. But that was the only reason that Hufanga fell, was just because of his 40 time. They put so much stock into that, and what you have to understand is some players, you don't need to be fast. You just have instincts. Richard Sherman played at such a high level in this league for all these years because he knew what to do. He knew how to run that cover 3 scheme to perfection. And he was very smart. His football IQ was ridiculously high. So he didn't have the speed to keep up with the Deshaun Jacksons and the Taylor Gabriels and Ted Ginn Jr.'s, the Raheem Mostert. Like, he didn't have the speed to keep up with these dudes. He could give up with Devontae Adams. But he knew how to play, and he knew what he had to do. You got a high football IQ. It makes up for things that you may lack in other areas. So it helps you. You know what I mean? And so what Breezy asked you earlier, do you want Bosa to play next week? No, I don't want. I don't want to see Nick until maybe dress rehearsal game. If that, I don't even want to see him then. I'd rather. Hey, I appreciate that, Melissa. Yeah, I swear. Okay, so I'm gonna tell y'all, if y'all saw the pictures, the Trey jersey and this hat I bought game day. I'm one of those people, when I like something, if I see it, I buy it. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I am, especially when it comes to 49ers stuff. Any other things, I'll probably see it, like it, maybe pass on it. But when it comes to 49ers things, I automatically know whether I'm going to like something or not. So I automatically had this. I locked eyes on this hat in lids, and I was like, nope, I need it. And I went to the person. I was like, yo, I need to see. And they were like, okay, it's stitched a certain way. put this on your head, see how it fits. Put this one. So I went through a couple of them, and boom, I landed on this one. As far as the jersey, I kid you not, I had been looking for a Trey jersey, and I've been dying to find one. I couldn't, and they didn't have any out here in Arizona. So when I was in Santa Clara, we were in the mall, and I kid you not, I literally, my wife could attest to this. I literally pranced over to the fucking store like a goddamn fairy, and was like, I need that jersey. And dude, I was like, how much is it? Dude told me jersey was $121, 120. And I was like, are you lying? And the dude tells me straight up, no, I'm not lying, man. Like, it's good. He said, I'm Santa Claus. And he joked, and, either way, I got my jersey. I got both of these on game day. But Talanoa Hufanga looked great. Diamado Lenore looked fucking fantastic. And the guy that I didn't have a lot of faith in last year because he didn't wind up making the team, but he is back and he did make the team, Jonas Griffith. Jonas Griffith is doing number 53 very damn proud. So if y'all don't know who Jonas Griffith is, you might want to get in touch with him. He played at Kentucky. We had picked him up as an undrafted free agent last year. He didn't wind up making the squad. But this year, as far as that last game, Jonas Griffith was all over the field. He was doing his thing. Oh, excuse me. Now, if you look at it, the guys, the guys who had a lot of tackles, Justin Hilliard had 8. And then this guy, Kai Nakua, had 6. Jared Maiden had 5. Talanoa Hufanga had 4. Arden Key had 4. Jonas Griffith had 4. But Griffith had 2 passes defense as well. Nakua had a pass defense. Diamado Lenore had a pass defense, and he had that INT as well. So for me, defensive stars, period, point blank, Talanoa Hufanga, Diamado Lenore, and Jonas Griffith. Those 3 guys were everywhere the ball was, and Diamado Lenore basically played like he was, trying to make a name for himself as a shutdown corner. There were a couple of times where he got the ball complete on, but I mean, you got to think about it, man. It's preseason. He's a rookie. It's going to happen. I'm not about to hold him accountable for all of that. That's not a negative thing. Melissa asked, and I'm going to answer this real quick. Who do you think improves most playing against Joey Bosa in practice? When it comes to that, Melissa, I'll just be 100% honest with you. He's going to improve anybody he plays against, whether it be Trent or Michael Lynch. Because when you go against, it's iron sharpens iron. So I'll always harken back to that. It's definitely a beautiful thing when you get a really, really good pass rusher up against a really, really good tackle, because you want them to go ahead and fight. You want them to go ahead and show what it is that you have, because they'll make you dig deep and pull out moves that you didn't have, do things that you don't normally do. When you have competition that pushes you to the edge and makes you dig into your bag of tricks to be able to stop them, it only makes you better. So anybody, period, would be the best to go against that. Gibbons, did he? Let me see here. I didn't really see Gibbons out there. No, he wasn't on the stat sheet. He didn't even play. If he did, no tackles, no nada. So let's see here. Agent Mo says Arden Key is going to be a pleasant surprise this year as a rotational pass rusher, and if D4 goes down with the injury, I'm excited for him to take over to get those snaps. Now, the one thing I can say about that, Mose, is I thought that was Ibukam's spot. I thought he was supposed to be trying to hold down, taking over if D Ford goes down, since they're transitioning him into a defensive end. At least that was my understanding. But I mean, if Arden Key can get out there and do what he was doing, then I'm perfectly fine with it. I hope that D Ford is able to be healthy fully for the season. And I hope that rotating these guys in will keep them healthy enough and keep them fresh. I always say this. Steve Spagnuolo was one of the best defensive line coaches, strictly because he continued. I know he's hurt. I know Sosa is hurt. But Steve Spagnuolo was one of the best defensive line guys, because he kept rotating in starters continuously. He just kept rotating them back and forth. So when Justin Tuck, O.C. Umenyiora, and Michael Strahan sat down, you had a bunch of other dudes coming in right behind them that are starters anywhere else. So the defense didn't miss a beat, and that's what we've been lacking. So it's funny when you look at it from a defensive and offensive line standpoint. So the defensive line is now deep. We got some players. We got some starters. We got some dudes that can go ahead and make things happen for us when we're rotating out the starters. The offensive line, not so much. We got starters. Then we got a couple of guys that we think are going to be okay, but we got some question marks as well. Sean Coleman himself, he's out with a knee injury. You leave it to me, cut the dude. I don't like him. Sosa is hurt right now, and I heard he was hurt before. But the 49ers love hurt players. I don't know why. I don't know what the problem is, but they seem like anybody who just has been hurt. If you got a previous injury, come to 49ers, we'll sign you. And I don't like that, but, I mean, I guess you got to take a chance. Everybody was telling me about Jason Verrett. My thing is if you're a hurt player, how often are you hurt? And do we know what we're getting when we see you on the field? And are you on the field enough to really even play and give us a reason to like you? That's how I look at things, you know. So with Jason Verrett, I knew what he was going to be. When he was coming out of TCU, I wanted us to draft him. I didn't know he was going to be injury prone the way he was in most of his career, but I could for damn sure tell he was a great cornerback, and he's a ball hawk. Those are the types of guys I like. I like the Deion Sanders types. I like the Asante Samuel types. And you know who else went to the damn Chargers? Asante Samuel Jr. And I got a buddy of mine who is a diehard Charger fan who tells me he looks fantastic. He locked down Keenan Allen in a practice. You know how hard that is to be a rookie defensive back and lock down Keenan Allen, who doesn't get a lot of respect in this league and deserves way more because the man is a full-on beast. So I'm just saying, it's definitely a beautiful thing. But as far as our special teams, we found a gem. We found us a diamond in the rough. Simba Webster. I like this kid. I like what he did in the return game. I like what he did when he ran the ball. I like what he did when he caught the ball. What people don't, Keenan is always going to be a problem, man. He gets so disrespected. Like, he literally stopped playing Madden because of how disrespectful they were. But Simba Webster, for our special teams, to round this out, that kid is special. He's very special. He is electric. Like, when he catches the ball, like Greg Papa said himself, Simba Webster over here playing like Mufasa. Bars. The kid is just flat out, he's amazing. And I like what he brings to the return game better than Richie James. I keep saying Games. I don't know why. So Simba Webster, 1 carry, 34 yards. You know what I mean? Simba Webster, 2 catches, 18 yards. So then you flip over to the return game. Of course, the interception, Deommodore Lenoir. Simba Webster, San Francisco kick returns. 3 returns, 62 yards, averaging 20 yards a return. Longest return was 43 yards. So that tells you that he has that breakout ability. Longest return for Richie was 21. Richie didn't get us past the 20. Simba did. You know, as far as our punt returns, we had Travis Benjamin and River Craycraft. Neither one of them did a damn thing with it. You know what I mean? So, keeping it a buck. Richie James, Jalen Hurd, you know, y'all on the roster bubble. Sorry. Hey, Jay in the Bay. What's good? I can't do it like you, man. I'm sorry. I'm still trying to get my voice to recover from the thing, man. If y'all don't follow Jay the Bay, man, that dude is super cool. He's got his own like intro and the way that he addresses his people. I love that dude, man. It was a pleasure to be on his show. I got to get him on mine. What's good, Jay? Matt says the next Josh Cribbs confirmed. Okay, I like that. I do like that. But I'll say this. The stars of the night to end the show. We had Trey with his TD. We had Trish Sheffield with the TD catch. Charlie Warner with that nice little 34-yard catch. Simba Webster with what he did in the kick return game and the carry. On defense, Talanoa Hufanga, Diamador Lenore, Jonas Griffith. Those were the dudes that stood out to me, man, as guys that are making things happen. So those were my guys. Those are the key stars to the game. And those dudes did the most to be able to push for a roster spot and keep themselves away from anywhere near being cut. Do I think HaHa has anything left in the tank? I don't know. I need to see more from him in practice to be able to understand what's going on and where he's going to fit in, because I think they brought in HaHa for depth. And I think, a lot of people basically were probably writing off Talanoa Hufanga. And then with the way he played, they were like, I don't know, maybe we shouldn't have brought another dude in. So key for us is to keep on balling, continue to keep these linebackers rolling. I'll keep my eyes next week on Jonas Griffith. I intended on going to the Chargers game, but I'll probably just be watching it on TV. I don't know if I will or I won't. I probably will not. But at the end of the day, definitely do appreciate y'all tuning in. Thank you so much for everybody, going ahead and getting it in. Agent Mose, we definitely got to get up. Jay and the Bay, we're going to get up. We'll have 49er Minded jump in too, man. We're going to do some cross shows and get some things rolling. But thank y'all all for, coming in and listening to your boy. I know it's a couple of days after the fact, but definitely, man, sometimes when you have like little moments like that, you soak it in. And it definitely is just too much fun to actually bring it on. Hey, 49er Chanel. I appreciate all of y'all, man, for tuning in. We will be back with more shows. This is going to continue throughout the week, and it's going to continue throughout the season. I'm going to try to start getting me a couple of guys in here from opposing teams to be able to tell me their perspective on things. Peace, Matt. Peace to everyone. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Stay faithful. Stay blessed. And if y'all looking for this hat, it's in Lids. If you have a Lids near you, that's where you get the hat. I know a lot of people have been giving me compliments on this joint. I like it because, like I said, look at how it glistens in the light, man. That's the cool thing. The light bounce off that 49ers right there just hits you in the eye. Yeah, man, that Trey jersey, it's a thing of beauty. I jumped on that one, man. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. Once again, y'all have a blessed evening. Stay safe. You know what I'm saying? And definitely Simba's going to make that the roster, Jay. He going to make that roster. Ain't no question about that. But y'all have a good evening. Stay faithful. Peace.